Hi, and welcome back to the Save It for Parts channel. Today we're going through a pile of hoarded stuff in the garage, and we're going to see what we can build out of random stuff. This entire pile in the middle here was supposed to be sold at a garage sale last spring, but due to current events, we're not having a garage sale, so I'm going to continue to hoard this stuff. So, as you've noticed, I have a lot of kayaks in here. They're just all over the place. And I have even more kayak paddles because I managed to dumpster dive just a ton of these kayak paddles. They're in decent condition. Some of them are a little chewed up. Some of them are a little ugly. Now, I also have these kayak paddles, and these were the ones that were a little more damaged. They had a little more damage to the edges, or the spring-loaded mechanism, or they were slightly bent, or something else was wrong with them. So, what can I make out of a whole bunch of slightly damaged kayak paddles? I think I'm going to try to make a trebuchet out of this. Now, if you haven't studied ancient weaponry, or if you missed the internet circa 2018 to 2019 and did not see the 10,000 trebuchet memes floating around, then some brief explanation is in order. Trebuchet is like a catapult, but cooler. It has basically a giant pivoting arm, and on one end of the arm is a weight that pulls it down, and on the other end of the arm is a sling. So as that weight comes down, the throwing arm flips up, releases the sling, and throws your rock or dead cow or burning ball of tar or whatever towards the enemy's castle. We'll see how many of these it takes to build that. Got some cross braces down there. Got our upright legs, and then this will be our pivot point here. And I think I'm at the point where I need to see if this actually fits out of my garage and out into the driveway where I can test it. I found some pipe fittings that fit around the kayak paddles, so it's going to be my pivot point. And then I've got another one over here on the throwing arm, and those are going to just lock together with scrap pipe, and then we'll get some weight on it and get it set up. Alright, so there we go. I've got a trebuchet made from kayak paddles. Also a few zip ties, a little bit of duct tape, and that big chunk of metal. Alright, since it was night when I finished this last time, I didn't really get much of a chance to test it. I did try throwing a little ball, but I couldn't really tell where it went, and I think it just hit the ground. So we're going to try it again. And I'm going to test it out with a squishy tomato as the projectile. Here's our squishy tomato going into the sling. Alright, so it turns out trebuchets are actually much harder than internet memes have led me to believe. I tried a couple squishy tomatoes. Several of them just hit the ground over here, and one of them hit the top of my car. So I have not yet gotten one to actually fly very far, so I don't know if I need to adjust that little finger on the top, or my sling, or something else here. So I think I need to film this from a distance in slow motion, and then I'll know if I need to adjust things a little more. Alright, now I think it should be releasing around here when the projectile is going in a 45-degree angle out. However, it's not releasing until about here when the projectile is going down towards the ground. So I need to bend that little sling finger back a little bit so that it lets loose of the sling on this part of the arc. Okay, so how about a projectile's eye view of the throw? I've got these little cheapo cameras, but they're really garbage. They claim to be HD, but that's really only at like 3 frames per second, and the manuals for these are indecipherable. So I just have an old phone, and it's got this rubber bumper case. Those cases are pretty indestructible. I put them on all my phones. It's made by OtterBox, and I think this case will survive being thrown across the yard, and this has a better camera than any of my disposable action cams. All right, we're throwing an old phone with the Kayak Paddle Trebuchet. Go! Now we gotta find the phone. It's over here somewhere with all the tomatoes. Tomatoes. There's the phone. So I don't usually do product placements, but this is actually a great ad for these OtterBox cases. I put these on all my phones. You can literally throw this phone, and you can throw it with a trebuchet, and it still won't break. So there you go. This is probably the world's first and only Kayak Paddle Trebuchet. And yes, it does work, and it does throw things across my yard. I don't really want to throw things past the yard because I live in the city. I might try to take this out somewhere with more range and try throwing things farther, but it won't actually fit in my car the way it is now, so we'll have to disassemble it a little bit for that. So until we get around to doing that, I'm going to wrap up this video. I'm going to call this a successful Kayak Paddle Trebuchet. You can build this at home if you have a big pile of broken kayak paddles, as you know we all do. So thanks for watching. Feel free to like and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.